What's up, everybody? Stefan Martinez here. Uh, we're opening on solo tip. A little technical difficulty. Ivan should be in the stream in a minute. How's everybody's Monday night going? I see there's three of y'all in here already. Armand, was good? Was good? So I just wanted to let you guys know that tonight is going to be a jam-packed show. I'm excited. So let's get into it, man. Ivan should be joining us shortly. Brendan Donovan, three-team trade. Uh, I wasn't surprised by this because I always thought the Mariners were going to be in the mix. I always thought that Seattle was going to be at the forefront of these discussions, and it turns out Jerry DePoto pulled off a three-team deal. And is it me, guys? Is it me, or do the Mariners always seem to find themselves in the middle of these three-team trades? It never fails. The Mariners always seem to find themselves in the middle of uh the three-team trade. And it's crazy because I Reyes DFA Ken Waldichuk. Thank you for that update. Manny was good, bro. We see you. And I look at the Rays and I'm like, I don't know how you guys always end up in these three-team deals. And then, we don't know the people. We don't know this player that they got. I mean, we know the player they got back. Third baseman Ben Williamson. So it's just the Rays always find their way in these three-team deals. I don't know how they do it. I don't know why they do it, but that's just a Tampa Bay Rays staple. They find their way, and and credit to the Cardinals, because the Cardinals have been saying to us for the longest time, we're not going to make this trade unless we know that we're going to get proper value. And a lot of people have said they've gotten proper value, whether it's a fair value or not. What's up, bro?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. I think because I left my phone. What up, Chad? I'm sorry, my fault. So I left my phone on the charger downstairs, and it looks like when I had stopped by, because I had like some water here, other things that I'm gonna use.
Gotcha.
I guess I had hit the keyboard, and I think I ran off. Did the show start or no?
Nah, the show started. We live, bro.
I figured, because when I ran off, I heard something, but I'm like, nah, that's not it. And I'm like, it's just my phone. Let me just go get it real quick. But
nah. It started, but listen, man. I was just saying, I don't know how Tampa always ends up in these three-team trades, bro. It's amazing to me. These guys never miss. They never miss with an opportunity to get in the back door and acquire somebody that we didn't think fit there, like we didn't think they had interest in. But I was just telling the chat, listen, I'm excited by what Seattle did. Like, it's a big get for Seattle. I love this for the Mariners. I don't know how you feel, because I'm going to be honest. I thought Seattle was always going to be in the mix, because I had reported early on this winter that I thought the Mariners, were going to be in the mix for him. So I'm not surprised they pulled it off. My only thing is, I'm surprised how much they gave up. They gave up their number 7 prospect, 91 overall in baseball's top 100 according to MLB Pipeline, which I have right here. But I'm surprised they did what they did. Like, are you surprised they gave up what they gave up to acquire him? Also, they gave up their number, I think, 11 prospect and number 12 prospect. Both of those prospects, however, I don't think are ranked. So as we sit here today on a random, Tuesday, Monday, what are we looking at, bro? Like, how do you feel about this? Because I was kind of taken aback by it.
Yeah. So I like the move. And there's a couple of things that are gonna go along with what I'm about to say, but I already view this as, because remember, one thing that we covered, early this off season was, yeah, bro, it must be. It must be. No, but like I said, I think I had like left something that hit the keyboard, and that's how it happened. But yeah. So Brendan Donovan, the Mariners had to do this. Polanco, clearly, he went to the Mets. The Mets are going to figure out what they're going to do with him now. But that now left a hole at second base for the Mariners,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Especially after we had already known that they brought back Josh Naylor, which I would say was a priority coming into this offseason, right? After
Definitely.
seeing how well he performed there. So
Mhm.
now you bring in Brendan Donovan. The one thing that is a concern to me, though, is I don't think they've actually addressed third base now that we know Eugenio Suarez is going back to Cincinnati. So I'd
Mhm.
like to see how that turns out for them. But I like the Brendan Donovan move, excuse me, big time. I think what they gave up was worth it, especially when you look at, what they had already missed out on and them not wanting
Mhm.
to be a
Mhm.
team that's going to put up a certain amount of money when it comes to what some of these players are asking for, like a Bo Bichette, right? Like another guy who is going to the Mets. Why? Because of the money, and the Mariners are a team that they don't necessarily want to play that game when it comes to all of these guys. They'll go to a certain extent, which is why they brought back Naylor, as I mentioned.
Mhm. So, uh, Donovan's gonna play third.
Third, okay, got you.
Donovan's their third baseman. So, listen, I love Jerry DePoto. Like, I'll tell this story to the day that I'm dead. We were doing 27 outs, another incarnation of 27 outs. Ivan, do you remember the story I'm about to tell? If you don't, I'll refresh your memory.
Nah, I can't remember yet.
We were doing a show at Brick. Shout out to the good people at Brick in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? They held us down for half a season. I remember telling you a story that Jerry DePoto was in the hospital and he had to get his appendix removed. And he was literally on the freaking they're prepping him for surgery and he's finishing up a trade.
Mm-hmm.
And you looked at me and you were like, yo, that's incredible. Like he got the heart monitors on, like they're taking him through a battery of different things, and he's doing a trade while like lying in the ICU getting ready to get operated on. And you looked at me and you like, yo, that's a different commitment to the
Yeah.
job,
No,
bro.
it's funny because I'm hearing you say it again, and I remember exactly what it felt like when I heard you share that with me. And I was like, well, holy cow, like these guys are going through like what could be life-threatening issues, and they're still doing their jobs.
And then the thing that I remember about the trade was, do you remember who the trade was for?
At the time, nah, I don't know. Who was it for?
At the time, because they really they wanted this player for a while now. At the time, the deal was for Gene Segura.
Oh, yes, I remember
He
Gene
brought
Segura, yes.
Gene Segura to Seattle, and he did it, and I'm like, bro, you can't even. You're not even functioning right now.
Mhm.
You're high on like Jesus juice right now. How are you pulling off a trade? But that just goes to show you this guy is committed to the job to a different level. And look, Brendan Donovan's the perfect player for them because he could play second, he could play some third. And I'm gonna tell you this right now: if you ask for the package, you shall receive said package. We're gonna pull up the package so you guys can see it. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. I just admire how Jerry DePoto just puts together teams. I don't know how you feel about the guy, but we give him a lot of crap because he makes crazy moves and
Oh, I
he
like
does.
the effort. I like the effort, especially when I look back at what he did at the deadline to bring in Josh, to bring in Eugenio, right? And
Mhm.
then now with the Brendan Donovan move, considering what he gave up and what we're talking about right now, I like. Listen, we can always sit here and say they can do better, right? We can say that about a lot of teams, but for a team where for some time up until we finally got to that point now, we were asking them like, yo, what are you guys waiting for? Right? Especially for those of you who have been supporters of the show for some time now. I remember before the Mariners had all of this offense, Stefan and I were on this very show talking about like, yo, what are y'all waiting for? Because those pitchers aren't going to last forever.
And as you see, here's the deal. We're gonna take this off. We're gonna stop sharing because I got a couple things. We're having some fun tonight with the features, guys. I'm gonna share some links and some posts, and so I I'm gonna be honest. I thought they gave up a little bit too much, but I understand why they did it because you have him for another year of club control, which is important. He's not a rental. They have him for 2 years. And St. Louis said that they were not in a rush to trade him, right? You had to come to them with something that they felt was valuable. And obviously, this package to them was valuable. And I'm going to be honest, I think the Cardinals did very, very well. You end up with a hard throwing pitcher. I can't pronounce the brother's name, but the way that they just continue to you know mix and match and get things done. Listen, self-admittedly, they're in a rebuild.
Yeah, I'm glad you took the words right out of my mouth, Stefan, because I was gonna say exactly that, right? Like before this Brendan Donovan deal, we had talked about some other deals that the Cardinals made early this offseason, right? Sonny Gray to the Red Sox, Contreras as well. He went to the Red Sox. They finally got rid of Nolan Arenado.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like Donovan now being on the move was the final piece to finally welcome, the next chapter of St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Now that
Yeah,
all of these guys are gone,
yeah. Listen, and I'm gonna tell you this: the one thing that you've seen Heim Bloom do, they got a lot of young pitching. They got a lot of young pitching in St. Louis, and that's how you start rebuilds. Because even if half that pitching doesn't pitch for you, they're gonna help you get other things done in the future when you're ready to win, if they're still in your organization. So shout out to you know the Cardinals for having the presence of mind to just stock load on pitching. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of surprised the Cardinals waited this long to do this because before Heim Bloom took over, you started hearing that they wanted to do this a couple years ago with their former president John Mozeliak, and he was like, we're gonna try and hold on and be competitive." They it felt like their window was closed after Yachty and Wainwright and Pujols all walked off. That
know.
would have been the time to start the rebuild, but they didn't do that, which I'm kind of surprised by. But if you telling me that this is how they start the rebuild, they've done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
They've done exceptionally well.
I'm glad we're talking about the Cards tonight because just a couple of days ago, I had seen this clip of Nolan Arenado, talking about like his time with the Cards. And I don't
Mhm,
know if any of you guys had seen this, but he said that, it was a disappointment to see how his time with the Cardinals went and the fact that he ultimately had to move on because
mhm,
he remembers Cardinals baseball for the guys that you just mentioned and them always being in contention. So he
right,
thought like, well, damn, well, with my glove and what I got left, I think I can
mhm.
help. And for it to not be, anything close to what he had seen for so many years from
It's
afar
tough.
is
It's
like,
tough.
damn, he kind of puts the blame on himself.
And not that that's fair because you didn't know that they were gonna all age out this at the same time. The one thing you do have you had concerns about was his productivity really slipped the last couple years. Like he wasn't the same player he was early in his Rockies career,
He
and even
wasn't.
his first year in St. Louis was like, if we could get some of this, I'm cool. But like he fell off a cliff the last two seasons, and maybe the warm weather rejuvenates him in Arizona, and it's a young group over there, and who knows? But I will say this: for all the crap we give Heim Bloom, like this guy knows how to like start rebuilds. He just this is what he does, and so I want to see what's next. Okay, I want to see what's next. Now it puts into perspective: does a guy like Mason Wynn, their franchise shortstop, do you try and extend him? Team friendly extension. We're gonna build around you now. Probably 8-year deal, 200 to 250 million. Make you a Cardinal for life.
Whatever happened
Mm.
to that other youngster? Wasn't he supposed to be like pretty good? Remember Jordan Walker?
Jordan Walker's kind of hit the skids a little bit.
Yeah.
The guy I'm excited about is JJ Whitholtz.
Hmm.
JJ Whit, woo, can that brother hit a baseball? Can he hit a baseball? So between Whitholtz and Mason Wynn, you got something like Walker. To me, he's not an outfielder. It
Hmm.
seems like they're playing him out of position because if you remember when he first came up, wasn't he playing first base?
That's a good question. I do recall him being an infielder at some point,
He
right?
was playing first base when he first came up, if I'm not
So he's
mistaken.
He's a right fielder now. That's a good question though. Let me see.
But he did play first base when he first came up. Or am I
Mhm.
making that up in my demented, tired brain? Please tell me, because
I'm
I'm
trying to
pretty.
see. It sounds like it does make sense. I feel like I have thought the same thing at
I've
some
seen
point.
him at first base. I know I'm not hallucinating.
Chat, let us know. Oh, he was an infielder. Okay, right.
But they played him at first for a couple games, right? I know I'm not bugging out. Go to
Mhm.
his baseball reference page. I know I'm not going crazy. He played third. Okay. Your
Damn, I haven't
mama.
seen that name in a while. Is that the same person? Remember, I think it was about a year ago, maybe a little less. We used to have a guy by the name of Yo Mama who used to be
Is it
in.
the wait, hold on. Is that you? Is the same dude or a different dude?
That's what I'm saying. Because a lot of you guys, which is
He did
perfectly fine, you guys
he
leave and then come back.
he did. Oh yeah, same person. What's up, bro?
What's good? We remember you.
Yeah, no, defensively, it's hard to watch him.
Mm-hmm.
He's really bad in right field. And
No,
so
the only reason why I mentioned him though, because we were thinking of like young guys on the cards now, and I know
no,
he's been with the team for about 3 seasons, so I wonder how they view him now moving forward. But he hasn't really lived up to the hype, so it's about that time.
no, and look, I'm gonna tell you this right now. What's he say? I'm in St. Louis looking at Brendan Donovan stuff. Really? Oh, wait a minute. Are you from St. Louis? Are you a Cardinal fan?
He might be a Cards fan, bro.
Ah, man. So listen, this has been an interesting offseason for you guys. Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras.
It's a brand new team. It's a completely new team that you guys are
It's
gonna be watching.
and I'm gonna tell you this right now. It's gonna be some leniency. He is a Cardinal fan. Shout out to you. Respect. Um, it's 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 gonna be tough for a couple years, your mama. Like it's gonna be tough. But the
I
one
mean, you
thing,
got to be excited too, though, if you're a Cards fan, because how many more years were you going to see, the decline of Nolan Arenado's offense, right? Like, how many more years did you want to see an aging Paul Goldschmidt before he finally went off to the Yankees? Like, it was time, you know. Sorry to say it that way because
no, but
I do remember. I forget the year, and maybe your mama remembers this, and some of you other guys too. But I remember I think there was this one season where Nolan and Paul Goldschmidt, I think they finished like top 3 in MVP, but it was Goldie who won, right? What year was that?
2022.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Nolan
So
was like right behind him.
hold on. Read this. Read
Cutting payroll. Got you.
what have I been saying for the last month
Yeah.
with the RSNs, which we're gonna get into tonight. I don't know if you saw the story, but there are now 4 more teams that are with Major League Baseball. Marlins, the Marlins. There are 4 more teams that Major League Baseball
Without
is now.
media deals?
No, Major League Baseball is broadcasting their games.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah. So, while you talk, let me look that up because I can have that accessible. But listen, the Cardinals should be, and the one thing you know about the Cardinals is that organization has too much pride to be that bad for this long. Like they're gonna be bad for a few years because they're just trying to figure some stuff out. But I don't see them being terrible to the point where you're just like, man, this makes no sense. What the hell are you doing? Like, I
Mhm.
don't see that for them. Like I see them having, yeah, it's going to be tough sledding for a few years, but I don't think that it's going to be to the point where we're having questions about whether or not they're ever going to get back here because that's one of the best run organizations in the game. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I don't have questions about whether they figure it out, but I do know that the television deal was a major issue, and which is why we're at the point where we are today. And it just feels like baseball was, you say it all the time, bro. Baseball was late they were late on the switch, bro. You were late to the party.
Mhm.
Like now you want to make all these moves, but you have no idea how you're gonna get there. Like it feels like they did something, but they had no plan. Is it me or is that how it feels to you?
No, it feels that way for a lot of things, especially when it comes to, and I'm saying that, well, both of us actually, I speak for both of us. We're both saying this as two baseball lovers, right? I don't even think fans is the right word. I think we're all of us here, including you guys in the chat, we're baseball lovers, right? But there's a lot of things, even with the changes that we see, on a yearly basis, especially now with the ABS system, right? Like that's another thing that we have to get into at some point to kind of like remind ourselves, like, yo, if there's an issue with a call, that could be addressed now, So
Oh my god. The first time there's a challenge during the middle of a game, I want to see first of all, I want to see the challenge from the player because I want to see them go absolutely apoplectic if the call is wrong or right. And then I want to see if these umpires start to, make calls on purpose because they're like, since you're going to challenge it anyway, it doesn't really matter how wrong I am.
Right.
I don't know if we should be doing that, but that's kind of how it feels like, no?
No, I agree. I think there's gonna be moments where players are gonna look like geniuses when they challenge, and then you're gonna have guys who are challenging just based off emotions when it was clearly a strike, Because we see it all the time. Guys, they scream, they holler. Sometimes it doesn't work in their favor, and I get it, right? Like certain calls, especially, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but now more than ever, right? Especially with the strike zones that you see on the broadcast, it's like, yo, bro, how did you get your job at the big league level? What are you doing back there?
Like, and then the thing is, like, I've said this to you, like, what's his name? Angel Hernandez is bad. CB Buckner was bad for a number of years. And these guys still had jobs. And I'm like, yo, you're in the big leagues. Like, that's why I'm a fan of like straight up demerits. Like, if you're that bad, you got to go back down to the minor leagues and figure some stuff out, my boy. Because you're costing these guys money, you're costing these teams money, and you're costing the fans money too. That come out to watch these games, and you're out here being a turd. It's really annoying. So I have the article pulled up right here, and it is the Kansas City Royals, the Cincinnati Reds, the Miami Marlins, the Milwaukee Brewers, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Tampa Bay Rays. MLB will oversee the production of their games. So that's a big step, right? So when your mama mentions about FanDuel and them not having the money now, the original package last year was 52 million. When they came back, when this new company came back to them, they offered them 42 million. And these teams are like, nah, we're not taking a $10 million pay cut. And again, the company's going through bankruptcy. Right? So, like, I can understand why these teams are a little bit hesitant to spend and want to cut some payroll and trim the fat because they don't have their own regional network. By the way, shout out to the Atlanta Braves who are starting their own regional network.
Or you could do that too, right? Yeah.
So shout out to the Braves.
Why don't now that you say that about the Braves, why aren't other teams doing that? They can all do it. Everybody can do it.
They can.
I mean, even what we're doing right now is a way of just simply doing it yourself because we can these days. I think all teams across all sports, like I know it'll take some time before we get to that point. And there's also a lot of money on the table, right? When you do make that decision to say, oh, you know what, screw it, we'll just do it ourselves.
So like the Mariners were one of the teams that had their own thing. They had Root Sports. And Root Sports, they ended up firing a lot of employees and then went into bankruptcy, and baseball just took over their production, which, here's a little secret, is going to work out because Rob Manfred wants everybody under one umbrella. So this is working out to his plan. Because if we can all broadcast your games under one umbrella, we could put everybody under one particular brand. Now we can monetize the games that we broadcast, since the league owns the rights to the games that the Braves are in a bigger market, growing metro area. St. Louis is shrinking. Wow. When you say St. Louis is shrinking, can I have some context on that? Because that sounds very interesting. I'm very intrigued by that. I'm serious.
Damn, Stephen, don't ask for his address on live now.
No. I'm talking about in terms of like if the population is going like this.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What does it mean for the overall health of the ball club?
That's a good TD wants to know too.
Yeah, no, that's a fascinating statement because if it's So if we know that St. Louis as a market cannot handle the
Really? Holy cow! Damn.
nah, they get active out there in the
I
Midwest,
didn't
bro.
know. That's like the first because I don't really like look into stuff like that, but I didn't know like they get that busy over
Nah, they
there.
get that dead. Oh, Chicago.
Chicago, I know. I mean, hence like drill and all that stuff. I get
Nah,
that.
but they get active out there in the middle. Ain't nothing to do. Ain't
Man.
nothing to do. And it's freezing half the time too. But nah, this is a great get by the Mariners. The Cardinals did the best that they could. And listen, who knows what any of these kids are gonna turn out to be, right? Who knows? All you hope is that one of these kids turns out to be a big league impact player at some point. So we can look back and go, yo, you remember he was in the trade for Brendan Donovan that sent Brendan Donovan to Seattle? Here's a question now. If you're Jerry DePoto and you just lost Gino, do you go up to, Brendan Donovan's representative, his agent, and go, listen, we like the player. We spent all this capital trying to get him. We wanted him for a while. Can we get an extension done?
Mhm.
Can we see what we can do? Because if we paid all this in terms of prospect capital for him to leave us in 2 years, that would look absolutely crazy.
Right.
That would look crazy. So I wonder if an extension is in the offering at some point. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. I think Seattle's gonna be better than people think next year.
You think so? You see, I have to see how you because I know you mentioned Donovan is now playing third base for them, right? In 2026.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see how you or who is going to replace the offense that Suarez brought. Now I know he was certainly better in the first half than he was in the second half. I'm not gonna sit here and act like Suarez went back to Seattle and like, oh, hell broke loose because that was not the case.
Nah, he
But
was in the
I
slump
don't I
for
don't
a
think
minute.
they've done enough yet. But I certainly like what they've done. I think adding Donovan and bringing back Naylor, you absolutely had to do those two things, you know?
So I'll say this. I think that you're hoping that there's upside with Donovan, right? You're not gonna replicate a guy that hit 49 home runs. By the way, there's gonna be a special segment on the show. Ivan, remind me of this tonight. I want to do something called the death of the veteran, but we're gonna do that in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
The death of the veteran. It's something that I've been thinking about for a couple days, but I don't think he replicates the production because I don't think that's fair. Because what
Mm-hmm.
Gino brings in terms of power, RBIs, not very many people can do that. What he does do though is he brings a contact element, so they're not going to strike out as much. He's going to be on the bases more. He's going to give you a sounded bat, which to me is missing in the game, right? It's missing where contact is being replaced by, yo, if you can hit it in the gap, you're more important. If you can hit it over the fence, you're more important. As opposed to a guy who says, you know what? I'm going to just shoot this ball right back up the middle, get my 3 knocks and be good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to get to a certain level where baseball gets back to the fundamentals that me and you talked about. Like, yeah, it's good to have a Suarez, but he's gonna strike out 200 times. He's gonna hit 45 home runs, but his batting average is gonna be 225.
Mm-hmm.
In the playoffs, you need contact hitters. We saw it with Toronto. We saw it with the Mariners. If you got guys that can make consistent contact, you will be a very dangerous ball club because teams don't know how to deal with that. Now you're putting pressure on teams' defenses. Now I got to be perfect every single play. So I like what the Mariners are doing. I like what they're doing. And they have the pitching to sustain a contact level offense, right? Because your pitching is going to get you into the 6th inning most nights anyway.
Yeah, a lot of low scoring ball games.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that plays into the, hey, we're getting ready for the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So I like this move for Seattle. I think Seattle's going to be all right. Speaking of, let's just stay out west for a second, shall we, kids? Somebody want to check on the city of Oakland / Sacramento / whatever the hell they're calling themselves?
I don't know where these guys are located these days.
Yo, bro, I'm going to tell you something right now. if I'm an A's fan that lived in Oakland, I'm tight. You waited till you left Oakland. Malcolm Butler got paid. Brent Rooker got paid. Tyler Soderstrom got paid. Uh your boy that just signed an extension now,
Jacob Wilson.
Jacob Wilson just got paid. Oh, by the way, Nick Kurtz is probably going to get paid too. I am sick, bro. I am sick, bro. If I'm a fan of the Athletics right now in any incarnation, and I live in the city of Oakland, I'm wishing things on John Fisher that can't be wished on public airways. I'm dead serious.
I think a lot of people, like, before the team finally moved on and decided to go through everything that they're going through right now with the organization overall, I think a lot of people were slowly but surely kind of moving on, because I remember, especially that final season, I used to see like random videos of people who were A's fans for years, like, yo, dude, I can't take it no more. I'm sick and tired. Like, I can't believe, like, this is what the ballpark looks like. These dudes just don't care. It's crazy, man. And the very few moments, I hate to put it this way, but the very few moments in which the A's are good, it's never like they have like this superstar talent there that's like doing these outrageous things. They just really have a group of guys with a couple of all-stars who just play good baseball, you know?
Like, you could make the argument, right? They have one of the top 5 lineups, position player wise, in the game right now.
Right now, yeah.
And Rick said this because I was texting back and forth with him. What up, Rick? We see you, brother. I was texting back and forth with him a couple days ago, and he says, "Yo, they're saving up the pitching for when they get to Vegas." I'm like, that's kind of smart because they got all these dudes locked up to long-term deals at below market value. So, by the way, I'm just gonna say this too for the record. Yo, they're pulling an Atlanta Braves better than the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, no.
They listen, look at there was a tweet by Bob Nightingale, who I can't stand, but when I saw this tweet, I was like, they spent $200 million on those 5 players being extended alone. That's most teams, like, that's Cody Bellinger's like entire contract.
That's a bargain for sure.
That is insane, by the way. And I gotta ask, right? I don't mean to go here, but like, the players union got to be looking at these dudes like, oh, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, you guys are way too. And it's not even like they gave away, right? They're giving away arbitration years, bro. Your arbitration years are done. You're taking 7-year deals, and it's not even like you're getting close to $100 million. Like, I think the only one that is gonna get close is Soderstrom, and that's with an option that gets him to like $131, and that's it.
Yeah, and if they do decide, who we mentioned a couple minutes ago, Kurtz, he's certainly gonna have to cost over $100 million too.
I would hope so. Because what did Jacob Wilson? 7 years for 70 was his extension, and then there's an option for an 8th year.
Yeah.
If you're in the city of Oakland right now, yo, I don't blame you for crashing out. Because
right.
I want to crash out for you.
No, sorry, bro. My son is crying right now. Give me a second. Quick second. Sorry, guys, real quick.
You good. And it's tough, man. It's really tough, you know, like that Jacob Wilson contract. That's a perfect way of putting it. Thank you, TD. Your mama said St. Louis is the gateway to the West at one point. Had tons of industry. Budweiser, Boeing, all companies have sold back and left the area. So you guys are also struggling from an economic standpoint. It sounds like, your mama, like, that's really crazy. Like, that's crazy. So just from an economic standpoint, you guys are not doing great, which I don't know how you guys deal with it. Like, it seems like, you know, you just got to stay positive. But yeah, I could get why they're shrinking payroll. It makes sense. But like, if you've been a Cardinal fan for all your life, that can't be a fun experience. Nah, they're too much of an institution in the city of St. Louis to ever go through that. I would think, like that would like break my heart. That would really break my heart, considering the fact that like the Cardinals are like they're a part of the fabric of St. Louis, right? Like if they relocate, there's something wrong with the picture.
Sorry
There's
about that. My son.
that that would really like break my heart if the Cardinals ever had to relocate because the market just can't handle the size. But look at this. When I read this, I was just stunned right now. That's crazy, bro.
Hmm.
That is so crazy. I keep mentioning how the city's environment is factored into. Yeah, he's always said this. He's always said this. And like, it goes back to like obviously our Oakland point we was just having, but like also you said it a couple months ago too with like Brewers fans and you traded Freddie and you traded Corbin Burns and like at what point do you stop the sell off and be like, yo, we want to win games too? Like we want to put a competitive team on the field. Like it's
Yeah, that's why. It's too late now because at
it
one
was
point
done, it's
we were
done.
talking
Yeah.
about the Freddie stuff long before it even happened. But I remember there was a time when we had a couple of people who were telling us like, "Nah, it's not gonna happen," and then other people in the game too were like, "No, the Brewers are just not going to do that now." And to go back to Stefan's point, if you really think about how things turned out over the past few seasons,
Mhm.
history does repeat itself when it comes to some of these teams, right? Especially the ones that don't have some of the funds that others have.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when you kind of like eliminate what a team has done recently, it's kind of like, well, you can't do that because what they've done recently could be, an indication of what they may do moving forward.
Yeah, it's tough. And the one thing I will say is that like I've always said this, if you're not rich enough to handle it, get out of the game. Like Mark Antanazio, you should be ashamed of yourself. Corbin Burns, Freddie Peralta, Josh Hader all gone because you shouldn't own a team at that point. Sorry, you shouldn't. Like the fact that the Red Sox had to trade a prospect to get off of Hicks's contract to the White Sox. You're the Boston Red Sox. Why are we eating money? What the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
Serious question. I'm not even kidding. Somebody please explain because I'm lost.
By the way, the White Sox have had themselves an off season, man.
Yeah.
That team, listen, I don't think they're gonna do anything crazy in 2026, but are
Mhm.
they certainly gonna win way more games? Absolutely. I think when you combine everything, because they've had a very busy off season, right? Getting rid of Luis Robert, bringing in all these other guys, Murakami now, and so many other. Just like, damn. Well, the White Sox are finally trying. That's good to see. They're spending some money.
Well, can I be the bearer of bad news that's just the Grinch that just destroys everybody's party of fun? Let's have fun, kids, because do you know why the White Sox are now spending money as we look at the deal for uh Jordan Hicks going to the White Sox? And they gave up a pitching prospect. Jeff Passan had it before us. It was just barely before us. We're usually on the money when it comes to trades, but the reason why I find this fascinating is Jerry Reinsdorf is trying to sell the team, right? So, because if you remember, he almost sold it to one of the Ishbia brothers who ended up taking the position, who is now with the Chicago White Sox, who's going to take over the team at some point. Matt Ishbia is the brother that owns the Suns, and this is the other Ishbia that's with the White Sox. So, what the White Sox are trying to do is infuse some cash, spend some money, so we can get a new ballpark built. And one thing that has come up in recent years, and they've denied this, but I don't believe them because all politicians and businessmen are liars. I can see the White Sox being relocated to Nashville at some point.
Wow, the
Why?
Nashville White Sox.
Why? Because Justin Ishbia, the headquarters of their business is in Nashville. where have we wanted to see a team in expansion? They've been talking about Nashville as an expansion team for the last 5 years. And by the way, nobody's going to the south side of Chicago to watch the White Sox anyway. You on the south side. You in the middle of the hood. We good.
And they've been bad for a long time, too.
Oh, yeah. So, like, yeah, we spending some money. Murakami's here. They just signed Sir Anthony Dominguez. They gave him a 2-year deal, $20 million. They did some stuff. They got Acuna from the Mets. They're doing some stuff. My only piece of advice, White Sox fans, is get ready for the kaboom.
What the hell is that?
You know what the kaboom is? We're gonna rip the franchise right away from your hands.
Oh, right.
Go be Cub fans. Because I don't think they get a stadium in Chicago. And Reinsdorf's been trying to get them a stadium in Chicago for years. Like, get ready for the kaboom, because I'm telling you right now, this work stoppage is going to cause 3 things. We hear, right? We might as well talk about it. Relocation is going to be a main thing that is happening. That's going to be a thing you see. You're starting to see it already, where Manfred's like, yo, we want to get up to 32 teams and relocation, put teams all over, blah, blah, blah. Television contract stuff, okay? Remember, we were talking about this 4 months ago, and everybody looked at us like, what the hell are they talking about? Why are you talking about this? Now look. Ivan, they look at us, well, like we got 6 heads, and then it comes out, we've been talking about this, and they all look, damn, bro. Really? Ivan, am I wrong?
No, you're right. It happens a lot.
And the third thing that's going to happen here, and this is the most important thing, is you're going to start to see teams being taken over by people with private equity. You know what private equity means? That they don't, their money is, they can basically, they have their own capital. They're like Steve Cohen, a bunch of venture capitalists that can afford to move teams. And don't say I didn't tell you, but the Saudi Arabians and all the people from the Middle East that got oil money, they're going to end up owning franchises.
It's coming soon.
Oh, but why is that important? Why? Because baseball only understands one thing. You know why you're paying for 10 streaming services to watch games? Don't say we didn't tell you. Don't say we didn't tell you.
Speaking of streaming services, yesterday you told me to check out that Knicks-Lakers game, man. I know what I asked you was a funny question, because I ended up asking you like, yo, what channel, what streaming service? It comes off as funny, but it's a legit question you got to ask nowadays. Like, the days of, asking somebody, yo, did you catch like whatever game you're trying to talk to them about? And you really have to ask, yo, did you know that it was on this channel rather than what you thought it was really going to be on? Because things are just all over the place now.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I've said this for a while now. Like, sports is going to become monopolized, where it's going to be in one centralized area. That's why you got Fox and ESPN with this tandem thing. But what's going to end up happening is, once you get monopolized, then it's all one location, but that price, they're going to charge you for streaming services what they charge for cable now.
Yeah.
$150 a month, $200 a month. It's going to be like $600 for the year.
Yo, you know what's the crazy part about all of this too, guys? I saw this crazy, and it all relates, right? Because we're seeing it in sports, but not just in sports. We're also seeing it with like movies, right? Like, once upon a time, Blu-rays, DVDs, even VHS cassettes, all of that stuff was things that it was physical. You were able to hold on to it. You were able to own it.
Yeah.
I saw this video the other day on YouTube where a guy was breaking down like, yo, we're paying all of these monthly subscriptions, for sports, for, music, for all types of entertainment. And you know what's the crazy part about all of this? We don't own any of it, bro.
Yeah.
Back in the days, you used to have like an actual CD of, your favorite album,
Yeah.
even with video games. Now they want you to buy video games on the console store.
Yeah, you don't even gotta.
They still have video game stores, but I think we're like a few years away from that not even being something that people are able to enjoy anymore.
Right now, listen, man, Amazon got everything. I'm not going to the mall. The mall to do what? I could get it off of Amazon. I could shop online. Everything is online nowadays. Now, how does this correlate to the death of the veteran, you may ask? Remember the segue I told you I wanted to talk about earlier? The older player is dead. The older player is dead. You will say, well, what do you mean, Steph? A guy like Luis Ariz should not be signing a 1-year deal with that, as with what he can do with a bat. Like, his offensive skills can't be like taught. Eugenio Suarez just hit damn near 50 home runs, and you settle for a 1-year deal at $15 million? The veteran is dead, bro.
That bothers me.
The veteran clubhouse presence is dead. Unless you hold some weight analytically, or you do something analytically that you're a darling, the veteran is dead, bro.
And I thought Suarez especially, right? Like, I know you just referenced his deal with Cincinnati. I thought coming off of the big season that he had, because he had a hell of a season, right?
Yeah.
We could sit here and talk about, I did it earlier tonight. He was a completely different player in the second half for the Mariners, but his 2025 overall was a good one. And I thought he put himself in a position to be able to land a multi-year deal. You know, it's unfortunate.
And by the way, he's going to Cincinnati. He's going to hit about 55 home runs in a yard.
Yeah, that's home, bro. He's going there. That's a calm 45 to 50 bombs, 110 RBIs.
By the way, you put him in the middle of that lineup. That lineup now got some serious thump, right? Ellie, him, some other kids they got. I like the McLean kid they got.
Yeah.
They're gonna hit. They're gonna hit. And it's just
they pitch too, because they got some pitching as well.
They got some pitching.
They're trying to get rid of it, but
they got some pitching. It sucks that the veteran has been devalued so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I remember when the veteran still was respected. Like, all right, I'm gonna give you a 2-year deal, $30 million, get 35, maybe $40 million.
Yeah,
like the veteran's dead to the point where, like, Anthony Rizzo don't even got a job. Anthony Rizzo wasn't the same player, but his veteran leadership in the clubhouse should mean something to somebody that wants to win.
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing it right now with Zach Gallen. These teams are so afraid of, but there's a pick attached to him, and we don't want to give it the pick, and this is crazy. Like, it's crazy.
Speaking of veterans, and as you guys could tell by the title of tonight's video, I don't want to skip ahead, right? But what I'm about to say kind of relates to it. So we're gonna, get into this even deeper. But Miguel Rojas, right? Like, he wanted to play for Venezuela, and Major League Baseball basically told him no, because he's 37 or gonna be 37 years old in 2026. Like, there's other issues as well that we're about to get into, but what are we like now, being ageist when it comes to a tournament? Like, really? I thought a tournament's supposed to be fun. Like, you and I, we enjoy the hell out of the WBC, and so do so many other people too. And we also have the people who dislike it as well, right? TD, no shade to you, but shout out to you and the others who don't really care for it. But damn, so because somebody wants to be able to do something that first and foremost should be fun, right, is now being denied because he's of a certain age. I didn't even hear of these things before.
So you didn't hear about it, but it's been happening for years, bro.
But doesn't that sound ridiculous? Like, Miguel Rojas probably wants to make, and we thought it was going to be last season, right? Because that is what he said.
He was going to retire.
Now he wants to run it back. So maybe 2026 is more than likely going to be his final season.
Final year.
You telling me he can't suit up for his country, bro, in his final season.
Well,
That's a little personal. Like if
well,
Miguel Rojas would have take that personal, I wouldn't be mad at him because it's like, 2026 was supposed to be this year of me retiring, having fun. I could play for my hometown. Like, what's going on?
nah, he's playing in 2027 though. He said 2026 is his last season. Okay.
Mhm.
The Dodgers did it with Clayton Kershaw a couple years ago. Kershaw wanted to pitch for Team USA, and the Dodgers like, nah, we're not doing that. No thanks. Move on.
Even Kershaw too. Like he's another guy. Yo, I'm out. Wait, hold on. Wait, USA's playing? Nah, add me to the roster.
But I'm saying, look, I'm gonna say something that's detrimental.
And how old is Clayton Kershaw actually? Let me see.
37. 37.
Wait, but you know what? They're probably, you see, this is what I don't like, man.
But they're letting him.
I don't like because he's no
wait,
longer
wait.
signed to the Dodgers.
Right? Yeah, they're letting him play because there's no insurance on his contract.
Come on, man. What kind of BS is that, dude?
So
I get it, but listen to that how it sounds is all I'm saying.
So not to be the guy that like brings this up, but I told you this. Didn't we have this conversation at some point a couple years ago where I said they're gonna kill the Classic? The moment Edwin Diaz blew out his knee and Jose Altuve broke his hand, the Classic was it's done. The merchandise is too valuable.
Mind you, both of those guys, again, going back to whether they're of a certain age or in this case, whether they have gotten hurt while playing in a tournament, both of these guys still want to do what, Stefan?
Play in the tournament.
Want to play. Edwin Diaz still wants to play for Puerto Rico. Jose Altuve still wants to suit up for Venezuela, but he's another guy who he can't for the same reason.
And Jim Crane was like, I know what you want to do, but hell no. Because if you get hurt, who pays for it? Correa, same thing. Lindor, same thing.
See, but
now,
here's
Lindor,
my question, though.
They're trying to do a workaround with Lindor where they're trying to get another insurance company to insure Lindor to let him play for Puerto Rico.
Right.
So they're trying to work a workaround where like somebody else will insure him so he can play. Here's the thing. If you're Major League Baseball, Team USA, they have no problem with insurance. Team Japan, they have no problem with insurance. I'm gonna whisper the loud part, right? I'm gonna say the loud part out loud. Don't ban us off of YouTube. You notice who's having problems getting insured? The Latin countries. Do you know why? Because we want to have the power to be able to tell you what you can and what you can't do. You're lucky enough to get a contract from us.
Do you think it has really gotten to that point? Because I have heard, a lot of conspiracies over the last couple of days as we have started to find out that now certain guys can no longer play due to insurance.
What's up, Mike? We see you, brother.
Do you think it's gotten to that point?
Of course.
Where it's as obvious as, it can be with some of these decisions now?
Yeah.
He said, don't get banned.
I'm going to say this, like, your mama with the great point, poor countries.
Mm-hmm.
These owners are looking at these land players going, you want to do what? You want to get hurt where? Do you know how much money I'm paying you? Do you know how privileged you are to be in the big leagues? I lifted you from poverty and you want to do what? Nah. Because if you get hurt, I got to foot the bill. The insurances don't want nothing to do with you. Jim Crane, Steve Cohen, I got to foot this bill. I'm surprised the Dodgers and letting Diaz do this.
Right, yeah.
You get hurt, I foot this bill.
Well, speaking of the Dodgers, that is a good example. Now that you brought the Dodgers up, they are involved, right? Like Ohtani, they're saying he made the decision himself, but I'm sure the Dodgers were involved.
Yeah,
just like Sasaki is also not pitching. So the Dodgers, listen, while I do agree with you, right? Especially with Edwin Diaz, not to hope that he gets injured again. Like I want him to, pitch his heart out for PR, especially with the guys that they're not going to have. But they have to be involved to a certain extent. Like, we can't forget about the three-peat, right?
Read that part out loud. Read.
Yeah, they're so in love with those World Series ratings, and what Japan brings over. They know what it is.
I've said this.
So then if that's the case, Mike, right? Then to go back to your point about Francisco Lindor and what they're trying to work on behind the scenes for him, so he might be actually allowed to play if these insurance companies actually want to make some money.
If these insurance companies want to come through, the thing is, to be able to do that, you have to get approval not only from Major League Baseball, but the players union. So there's a two-pronged thing that you have to get approved before you're able to do this, right? And not to get into the other part of it, Razor said the hard part out loud. DR, PR, you make it hard. We want to see Ohtani versus Schoolboy in the finals. Y'all playing.
Damn, that's crazy. That sounds good though. even though DR, they got, I think, Christopher Sanchez pitching for them.
No,
Freddie is also pitching for them, if I'm not mistaken. So I wouldn't be mad at seeing those dudes pitching to Ohtani,
No, right. I'm not mad either way, but I'm just telling you what Major League Baseball would prefer is that it's the Americans against the Japanese.
They want a rematch of the last classic. I hear you.
We have a good old time.
Right.
Because we made more money. But if you're gonna compromise it to that degree, can I just be honest? Get rid of the tournament. If you're gonna make it so hard for certain countries to get insurance policies so their best players can play, get rid of the tournament.
PR, I don't think they're going to do this. I would be surprised if they do actually, but they have threatened to sort of like remove themselves from the tournament itself because they feel like they're at a disadvantage. We got no Lindor, we got no Correa. What are we supposed to win it all with an Asian Nolan Arenado who finally agreed alongside Baez? Like, come on now, let's be honest. PR is a team that you knew going into the tournament they weren't gonna, and this is roster in terms of who that we knew was going to agree in advance.
Right.
You knew PR was going to be the underdog compared to Japan, USA, and DR. You just knew that, right? Even Venezuela you could throw in the mix too. Venezuela is a sleeper pick too,
Right.
Even without Altuve, because they got Acuna. And by the way, speaking of insurance, how the hell he got approved? Who the hell approved Acuna? That just came to my mind, bro. Yo, somebody's doing things, bro. It doesn't make sense.
So this is the thing. Like, I've said this too. Mike with the great point. There's no way contending teams want their age risking it all over nothing but personal pride. These guys make way too much money at this point. It sucks to say it, but they make way too much money. And then I love baseball in the foreground going, yeah, but we put the tournament on and the tournament's good for us and it's good for our people and blah, 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 and we make more money. But deep down inside, baseball and these owners are praying to God. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. Let Aaron Judge and Juan Soto get hurt in this damn tournament. You see how fast it ends.
You think so? Or Ohtani. Can't forget about Ohtani, right?
Ohtani, Schoolboy, Skeens, Judge, Witt. One of these guys get hurt, tournament done.
Yo, that's a lot of guys, bro. That's something because all it takes is one.
Tournament done, finished. I say it in another language. Se acabó. You know what that means? It's over. That's it.
Yo, honestly, when I look at what the PR team looks like right now and who they don't have anymore,
shit,
I'm starting to believe I might not throw this shirt back on, man. And that's not a knock towards Puerto Rico, but the team is just not going to be good enough to the point where I'm going to want to come here, with the shirt, feeling prideful because I know they're really good, even though they're not. And it's like, damn, man, like I wanted them to even if they fell short, I wanted them to be amongst, top 4, top 5 teams, however it could turn out for them.
Listen, if Judge gets hurt, they need to take the wrecking ball to this tournament to never have it see the later date ever again. Ever again.
Yo, somebody getting hurt. Listen, I hope it doesn't happen, but the chances are very high. There's a lot of superstars in this tournament, bro.
By the way, you think the Tigers want to see Tariq School a year before free agency blow out his arm and blow out their chances of making the playoffs when now they can't trade him? Oh, hell no. I'm surprised they even let Tariq School anywhere near this tournament. Are you out of your mind, bro?
Especially with the trade, right? Because we know that's coming.
By the way, Wednesday, speaking of Tariq School, big day. The day of the arbitration hearing is Wednesday. So we'll know where he settled, where they settled, where everybody settled, and let's have a settled time. I'm going to tell you something right now. If Tariq School feels a twinge in his oblique or he feels a twinge in the elbow, if he feels watch how fast this tournament ends. You love it, I love it, but it will be over. And you know what? Can I tell you the truth? They're looking to end it. I believe Major League Baseball is looking to end the Classic.
Damn, for real? Yo, it's something that a lot of people have asked, could we get it yearly? Could we get it like every other year? And you're going to cut it? Damn.
I'll tell you why. Too much money. You telling me that the Pirates are thrilled with the fact that Paul Skeens is going to pitch in this tournament? If Paul Skeens get hurt, Bob Nutting, they're going to put him on suicide watch. You understand? The Pittsburgh Pirates own it. They're going to put Ivan, I promise you, they're going to put this guy in the puzzle factory. I swear to God. He's going to lose his mind. Whatever of it he got left is done.
That would make everything that they've done this offseason, go down the drain, literally.
And this is the thing I'm trying to tell you, right? When you're like, yo, damn, you think they would end it? Would they? Would they end it? Yes, they would end it in a heartbeat. Oh, by the way, Major League Baseball wants that money. Yes, they do want the money, but here's the problem. Let something catastrophic like an Edwin Diaz happen on this field again to one of these players that's supposed to be one of those great franchise guys. Done.
They go strip us like that.
We're going to have a World Baseball Classic. It's going to be with single A players, double A players, triple A players.
Right.
Too much money on the line. And it goes back to this point. Reza made it earlier. Latin players, they bring way more eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
The Acuñas, the Lindors, that they bring eyeballs, bro. So automatically that they're not playing. Watch this viewership take a hit. You're not gonna watch Puerto Rico play if these dudes ain't playing.
Speaking of Lindor, I do follow him on the IG. Speaking of IG, follow us on IG if you guys are not yet, and all that extra stuff too. But Lindor had put out a story after we had found out that Bad Bunny won the Grammy for Album of the Year. And in the story, he had indicated that, it was special news. He's very excited. He's happy, not only for Bad Bunny, but for Puerto Rico, because he knew that Puerto Rico, especially a lot of people who were cheering or looking forward to, rather, seeing PR in the Classic. He was like, yo, I know you guys haven't really been too fond about the news that's been coming out, with himself, with Correa and the other players who are now not allowed to play. Yeah. And it was like, yo, we are now able to cheer ourselves up just a bit with the Bad Bunny news, but it's still unfortunate that the team is not going to look as good.
Again, it's a business to these folks, man. You know how it's a business to these folks? Because, yes, baseball's going to make money with the Classic and the merchandise and the hats and the ticket sales and stadiums full. They're going to make money. But you know what makes them more money? Lindor, Skeens, Soto, Judge all playing for their teams.
Right.
Makes them more money, bro. This tournament is a blip on the proverbial radar screen.
I've never seen this many players get denied for a Classic. Never. And I've been watching the classic since the very first one, going back to 06.
And again, this could be. Can I go deeper into my conspiracy theory bag? This is Major League Baseball fighting with the Players Association. No. You want to sit here and tell us you want to play in this tournament, but yet you sitting here asking for the sun and the moon and the stars financially. But what if you can't? You get hurt and you can't be available to your teams. We using that against you in the CBA negotiations in the future. Hell yeah, you getting denied. Because you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't tell me you want to play for country pride and then on the other hand expect me to open up the checkbook. Hell no. I'm telling you, they're going to use this. This is being used as a tactic for the CBA negotiations. I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm telling you. Nobody said it out loud yet, but I guarantee you in 4 months, story's going to come out. Well, part of the denials were that Major League Baseball is using this against the Players Union as part of collusion. Telling you.
You know what I don't like? I don't like the fact that Major League Baseball has created something that both the players and fans enjoy, right? For us who enjoy the WBC, some of us would compare it to a playoff game in October. The only difference is that you're getting it earlier in the season as opposed to having to wait later in the year. Not just that, but you create this tournament and you tell players, well, we want as many of you guys who want to play to participate. And then there's one final thing, though. It's under our conditions. You can't just agree that you want to play. We have to allow you entry to play. Like, it's too much, bro. It's too much madness.
It's too much madness, but Armand, off the top rope.
Well, it really comes down to the players and how important the WBC is, right? Like, because if for a lot of guys it's nothing, and for other guys, this is everything, because being able to get to a World Series is one thing, but having a shot at being able to suit up for your country, to play alongside some of your boys, maybe even some guys who you grew up playing with, right? Like some of these guys have played on little league teams together.
So let me ask you a question. If you were owner of a major league team, that wouldn't bother you?
It would bother me, especially if you're, again, Ohtani, Judge, Soto, one of these players, like even a Kyle Tucker, like with the Dodgers and the amount of money that they offered him. If he was a guy, thankfully he's not participating, but if he was a guy who agreed to want to participate, if I was the Dodgers, I would want to be involved. I would feel some type of way. But it's like, damn, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right?
So the reason why I'm saying this is I gotta tell you, you know who's probably stopping this? I'm gonna tell you something right now. Steve Cohen. There is no way Steve Cohen was gonna let Lindor play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised he's even letting this dude pitch. What's his name?
Nolan McLean.
What?
Yeah.
Nolan McLean gets hurt, and no offense, because I love the classic, but I'm just speaking as an owner. You get hurt in this BS tournament that means nothing to the bearing of our season, and you're done because you blew out an arm. Steve Cohen is gonna have people's heads on a stick.
The Mets have a few guys though. It's Soto playing
Holmes.
for DR. Well, Lindor is not playing, but
Holmes, McLean,
Nolan McLean. And Mark Vientos, who's Mark Vientos playing
Nicaragua.
For? There you go. Mark, yeah. So they got a few guys to worry about.
No, but I'm talking about let Nolan McLean blow out an elbow real quick, and you see how fat you want to continue what? AJ Przinsky made a good point on the Foul Territory show a couple days ago, where he said, "Yo, why don't we just put it in the middle of the season?"
I wouldn't be mad at it. I don't care. As long as we still have it.
Put it in the middle of the season and get rid of the goddamn All-Star game. That's it.
Sign me up for that. Yeah.
Listen, 4 Nations tournament, straight round robin style. Let's get gangster. We don't need the All-Star. What do we need the All-Star game, bro, for? Like, what do we need it for?
Yeah.
You don't need the All-Star game, bro. Like, you don't need it.
But see, my thing is, I know there would be less teams involved if you do it at the midway point of the season. But how long of a tournament are we talking? Like, 'cause
So
I would like to see, because I don't think a day or two is enough. You get what I'm
no,
saying?
the NHL's doing this right now. The NHL's going on break for like 2. I'm devastated because I want to watch my Devils play. I'm tight. The NHL's going on break from February 6th to the 22nd.
Mhm.
They're not playing no hockey games because everybody's going to the Olympics to play. Do that. Do that. Make the season 140 something games. You don't need 162 games, and make it so that this tournament is a part of the major league schedule where you can get sold out stadiums and you still continue to get revenue, but not every team plays, but you get revenue still. Do it like a 4-nation style tournament. What are we doing?
Do you think, and I don't know the answer to this, right? In chat, let us know what you guys think. Shout out to all of you guys who are here. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up, that's for sure. But I wonder if you do the WBC in place of the All-Star game, would more players want to participate, or hold on, or would less players want to participate now that they've already gotten into their groove? Like, would the tournament kind of like knock them off? I'm just throwing out the different options out there, you know?
No, you're not wrong. You're playing devil's advocate, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
What would you rather have if you're an owner? Would you rather have me get hurt in spring training before my body's even used to doing this on an everyday basis? Or would you? Because just think about this, bro. You imagine the WBC, you imagine Team DR playing in the Bronx against Team USA, Yankee Stadium, 80-degree weather with a bunch of Dominicans and
that would go crazy.
Yo, bro, City Field, DR Japan, middle of July, dog. Imagine my birthday, me and you sitting there, and we got a World Baseball Classic game in the middle of July, dog.
I would be hyped, so hyped.
Son.
You know, I never thought about it like that, but once you start to imagine a WBC in the middle point of the season, it's like, yo, you could at that point have it anywhere because it's warm all over. Versus where now you could only play in certain parts of the country because, you know,
exactly.
The weather and all this
so
stuff.
what you do is like, listen, this will make it really unfair. How about we do North America, all of North America, including Canada, and we got all the Spanish teams. You got you got all the Spanish teams and all the North America, all those teams, they team up, they build a super team.
Yeah, and you have every team.
and you have a 7-game series. And you build it that way, where some round robin 4 nations type of shit. I'm serious. Because that's the only way this gets solved. Because the players will basically tell you, listen, well, I'm already in shape. Right? You can't tell me no because you're afraid I'm gonna get hurt. I'm already in shape, bro. I'm already playing games. My body's callous, my skin, I'm good, bro. What they can tell you though is, yo, you've been hotter than fish grease. If you go in this tournament, you come out in a slump and we go through a second half malaise, I'm gonna be tight.
Yeah, it's like people who say the same thing about those who participate in the home run derby contest, right? A lot of guys come out of it not being able to swing the same.
Yeah.
A lot of fans would go to the extent of saying like, yo, you haven't been the same since the derby. That's why you should have played.
I'm telling you, bro, like I guess it's a catch-22 for everything. There is this thing, well, if this doesn't go right, then this goes wrong, and then you can end the whole thing. And yeah, some people, depending on how it happens, the whole thing could be ended if somebody gets hurt or something goes wrong. But the reason why I like it this way, and I'm sorry, centralize it. Centralize it.
What do you mean by that?
You got enough players from Japan that are over here. I don't want games played in Japan because I don't want to interrupt their season. I don't want games played in PR. Play everything in the States. New York, Los Angeles. Give me another big market. New York. Imagine the WBC. Chicago. right? And you know what? If Canada wants to play a couple games at the Rogers Center, so what? Let's have fun. Boston. I mean, come on. Texas. Imagine a World Baseball Classic final at Minute Maid or Philly Citizens Bank. Are you out of your mind, bro?
Yeah, I hope
That
Major League Baseball is taking notes because now that we're having this discussion, I certainly believe the WBC might be better off instead of the All-Star game because the WBC is more competitive anyway.
and players don't want to play.
Yeah.
Players don't want to play. You make more money. And you imagine? Because baseball, they always say, oh, the middle of the season's hard, the dog days, it's August, it's big. Imagine you put a tournament in the middle of July. Bro, can you imagine what that will do? Son, I'll make the schedule for y'all right now. Right now, right here, right now. Let's have some fun. We go from July, the weekend after July 4th. So let's say you go from July 11th to July 30th. Why? You get 2 days off. You get 3 days off. What happens in those 3 days off? Trade deadline comes. No games being played. Trade deadline gets figured out. You go back to your team. If you get traded, you got a week to go back to your team.
Wait, so this is what your version of an All-Star break overall should look like.
Yes.
It should be the WBC game or the tournament rather, along with the trade deadline.
Into the trade deadline. No, let the trade deadline be after the tournament ends.
Okay, gotcha.
The next day or the day after. The trade deadline is right there. Bow.
I think, speaking of the trade deadline, I think this year is the beginning of August, right?
August 3rd.
Late. That's kind of late, man.
August 3rd at 6 p.m.
I saw that the other day. Listen, I know we're having fun with the WBC conversation, but I read that the other day, and I was like, damn, we're going to have even more teams holding on for longer now. I'm not a big fan of that.
So essentially what Trek with the perfect, that's TD with the perfect, bang, bang, perfect. Play no day games. Good agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, the trade deadline should be automatic off day. Automatic off day. What do we do? Okay, I'm done ranting now. Like, yo, can I ask you guys a question in the chat? And can I ask you a question, Ivan? Everybody talks about they love the game of baseball. They want to see the game grow, which everybody's entitled to their opinions of what they want to see grow and what they want to see. You know what I'm saying? Look, at the end of the day, why are channels like us and smaller channels always coming up with innovative ways to go the game? And the people that are in these offices, they can't figure it out to save their lives.
Yeah, they move or they do their jobs as if like none of this stuff has ever been said before.
And I'm sorry, I haven't cursed on this show yet, but I'm gonna curse right now. Who gives a fuck about the sanctimony of your game? Fuck your sanctimony. Don't nobody care, bro. You think the 12, 13, 14-year-olds that you're trying to appeal to care about? Oh, well, you gotta uphold the sanctimony of the game. The sanctimony. Fuck your sanctimony. Who cares? Because at that point, right, you're just pushing away the consumer that you're trying to chase down. The younger generation is going to look at you and is going to say, you know what? Since you're so sanctimonious, only care about yourself, we're going to do what us young people do. We're going to take our business somewhere else because we have other things that we can do.
You know, now that you're saying is one thing that I do want to ask, and I don't know if any of them are here, but
if I did, I
apologize,
I'm sorry. If I did, I apologize, but it didn't feel like I have. But keep going.
If any of the teenagers, any of the young fellas who watch the show, I don't know if any of you guys are watching right now, because I know not everybody, leaves messages in the chat,
Right.
but I would like to ask them, like, what's your perspective of where the game is at today? Because how they view it at 18, 19 is different than how we may view it in our 30s and up,
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you guys are here, leave a comment. If not, we'll, revisit that in the future.
And also, I wonder how much of it is based on gambling. I did a parlay with these 5 particular players. I'm just only watching their games to see if I hit the parlay. I don't even care about the particular teams. I just care about the parlay. I don't care particularly what team wins or loses. I just need this guy to get 3 base hits so I can cash out.
It's funny you say that. There's a lot of people who do that, bro.
Yeah.
Because with last season especially, I think with
Mhm.
more people who know us and them catching on to the fact that we cover the game that we love, of course, right? As much as we do, they come to us with like random questions like, yo, you think this on this player? Because remember, we're talking about people who don't watch baseball. They watch sports, but they might be more into like basketball, football, heck, maybe even soccer, right? But some people, they'll come and ask, like, yo, you think if I put this amount of money on
Right.
this you think this player would do it? And it's like, yo, bro, like just watch the game, bro. Like, or what these people can do as well is watch the show. Because a lot of these things are talked about on the show.
Listen, and shit, we might even start an over-under segment without even a gambling sponsor. Yo, it's one of you gambling sponsors, hit us up over here. You heard? Feel me? Promo code 27. You heard? We good.
We're gonna get it one day, right? And when we finally get to that point, we're gonna look back and make so many jokes on the moments where we like said we wanted it, and then we finally will at some point.
You know what I'm saying? And look, the fun part is that yes, it does grow interest in your game. It does. But does it grow the right type of interest though? Where are you just doing it to appeal to people that want to gamble, who don't really care about the sport, but who need something to do? Right? It's the same thing with the NFL and fantasy football and fantasy basketball. You know how many people tell me, yo, I don't even like football, but I watch it. I don't even have a team, but I watch it every week because of fantasy football. I got people that are NBA heads that don't watch the games. All they do is watch a player. They watch the player's stat line all night long. Yeah.
Dude, I cannot wait for the massive documentary that's going to be created in the near future on like what's really happening right before our eyes.
Oh, it's nasty.
With sports gambling, bro. It's crazy. Listen, I am somebody who, have I done it before? Yes, absolutely I have. I've done it a few times.
Yeah.
Do I still do it now? No. Will I do it randomly? Now, some people might use the word randomly and it's not so random. I literally mean randomly. Like, I'll do it like now, for example, and I won't do it again for like another 5-6 months. I barely do it. But there are some people who, yo, this might sound crazy, but they're actually making a living off this stuff, bro. I don't know if they know the ins and the outs of, who to bet on and how often. Listen, there's a game to all of this, right? Just like everything else in life. And I think there are people who they have it all figured out. I believe so.
Listen, I'll say this. They manipulate the algorithm just like we trying to manipulate the algorithm right now.
Oh, yeah. The algorithm is sick of us. Like, oh, 27 ounces uploading again.
God damn.
Yo, that's the only way, bro. That's the only way.
Speaking of fun, this show was fun. I'm glad you guys tapped in. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the top.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My bad.
Because I'm waiting. I'm looking at the stream and I'm like, wait, I didn't hit the live button. I didn't do it, bro. And I'm looking at the countdown and I'm like, wait, did he just? And you can't. The thing is, you can't stop it. Once it goes, it goes. So I had to do the impromptu, like
I gotta go watch that myself, because like I told you, bro, I had almost everything that I needed, right?
Yeah,
especially
man.
what I drink during the show, which is not crazy, by the way. Just some water, That Red Bull sponsor has to come in because Red Bull, that's one of them things that I have before the show.
Know what I mean?
But yeah, I quickly put that down and I noticed I didn't have my phone here. I'm like, yo, holy cow, let me go get that. I come back and I see the show, I see the chat. I'm like, holy cow, we started. What's going on? Little did I know I had made the mistake of, I guess, putting the mug on my keyboard by mistake. Yeah, bro. I gotta be careful next time.
It's dangerous, bro. But
but this was fun though. It has been a while since I think it's been about a week. I mean, I forget how long we go sometimes when it goes on for this long in between shows, but I know it's been a few days.
No, it's been close to a week. Yeah, it's been close to a week.
Tonight was fun. I'm glad we were able to get that Mariners, Rays, and Cardinals deal, a couple hours before the show. So that was good.
By the way, speaking of deals, the Twins. I don't know what the hell's going on with you and your ownership group, bro, but Joe Polad needs to be investigated for treason and lying to the general public. You want to compete when your payroll's barely over $90 million? I'm going because if I rant about this, we'll be here for another 20 minutes. I can't. But to the city of Minnesota, we see you. Our deepest apologies. We're going to get into the Twins at some point in the future. I just don't have the energy to do it right now.
Yeah, well, the one thing that we do know with what you just said, but also other things that we've talked about, right? Like they still have guys who teams are interested in at some point, especially when you're the Twins and you don't know what the hell you want to do with the organization. You got to move on from guys, right? So, who knows when, we'll come back with an episode about like Joe Ryan being on the move or, Pablo Lopez. Who knows what's next?
I don't know. Anyway, the show's over. That's what's next. Love you guys. Talk soon. Peace.